I know what you are. Your skin is like pale white and ice cold. You're incredibly fast, which like, if you're so fast, why haven't you just texted me back? You're like so strong, which I realized the first time that you punched me in the face when I spoke out of turn, and I'm like, so sorry about that. You smell like Axe body spray for some reason, which is like a bold choice. I know what you are.
Say it, like, out loud.
You're toxic.
Are you afraid?
Yeah. Because I'm about to post this really cringy bit on the internet, so.
Twilight, the #1 romance movie made for girls born between the years like 1997 to 2003, maybe? This was one of my favorite series when I was a kid. I watched all the movies religiously, I read all the books religiously. Okay, religious is a strong word, but still. I actually filmed this 2 days ago, and oh my god, is it so much harder to do movie commentary than I thought. So thank you for surviving the intro, and let's get into it. Oh my god. So apparently, OBS or Google or I don't freaking know, has this thing where it blocks you from being able to record the film. So I've decided that I have to do this the hard way. This video's taken a lot more effort than it's worth. I've literally been sitting here for like 2 hours trying to figure this out, and this is like the only solution I can come up with. Why did I spend $4 to rent this movie? So alas, here's Twilight.
Hey, Mikey, you met my homegirl Bella.
Oh, your homegirl.
Yeah.
My girl. Sorry, I had to mess up the game, Mike.
Can we just talk about like how horrible that whole scene is? And also the fact that some random dude just comes up and kisses her, and she's clearly incredibly uncomfortable, but none of that is ever kind of like righted.
Who's he? That's Edward Cohen. He's totally gorgeous, obviously. But apparently nobody here is good enough for him. Seriously, like, don't waste your time. I wasn't planning on it.
I wasn't planning on it. Imagine if you legitimately caught someone giving you that stare. That's a red flag in of itself. That face, red flag. Okay, if you just look at the evidence of the scene without understanding any of the context, if you're her, it seems pretty clear that this guy, like, doesn't like you. I've been in a relationship where at first this person was super aloof to me, did not really give me the time of day, kind of treated me like, and guess what? That was probably the most toxic relationship I've ever been in. And I think here, this film kind of glamorizes these relationships that start with a bunch of like red flags, and it's like, oh, you never know the reason. Maybe he's a vampire. Ooh.
I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to introduce myself last week.
You were gone.
Yeah, I was out of town for a couple of days. Personal reasons. Why'd you move to the wettest place in the continental US?
It's complicated.
I'm sure I can keep up.
This is why these kinds of relationships are so addictive, because this is an example of intermittent reinforcement. He goes from being super aloof, super distant, not caring, being gone for multiple days, and coming back, basically acting like nothing happened. Like, oh, I was gone for personal reasons. Sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Edward. When someone does this thing, and there's this kind of on and off of someone seeming like they're into us, it creates this addictive pattern, because what we want is to create these good moments. So in the bad moments, we're really, really trying to pursue these moments where our feelings are reciprocated, these moments where this person is giving us attention. And it's going to be hard for us to develop a relationship with this person in which we feel safe, in which we feel loved, in which we feel taken care of, because of the fact that it keeps flipping back and forth. So we don't really know what to believe. We don't really understand like what's going on, or why this person isn't really like giving us the time of day. And so if we want a relationship, which as time goes on, it's very clear that this is what Bella wants with Edward, it just creates this whole pattern that's based off of addiction to the good feelings of feeling liked by someone, as opposed to creating a pattern based off of love and trust and intimacy and all of these things, which usually comes from a person who, you know, directly expresses their interests, doesn't act disgusted by you, doesn't avoid you. All of these things are big, giant, piping red flags.
Why didn't you move with your mother and Phil?
Phil's a minor league baseball player. He travels a lot. Hey, did you get contacts?
No.
Your eyes were black the last time I saw you, and they're like golden brown.
Yeah, I know. It's the fluorescence.
exactly what I mean. Showing interest in her family, showing interest in what's going on. She opens up because she wants to build rapport with him. But then as soon as she brings up something, which to her seems like it would be completely insignificant, but it triggers him because, you know, oh, I'm a vampire. He instantly makes up an excuse and just like walks away from her. Granted, he has to. He's a vampire. As soon as he's triggered, he leaves the situation and gives her no more attention. But he doesn't really consider the fact that he's asking her highly personal questions. But as soon as she asks a question out of curiosity, he clams up and he walks away. Within these films, there's a lot of things that are like clear red flags that are shown, but it seems like the storyline kind of rewards that behavior. And to me, a good story is all about like portraying things in a way where you're supposed to be like sharing a lesson with someone. And the real question is like, what message are these films sending the viewers? All I know is that so far,
How did you get over to me so fast?
I was standing right next to you, Bella.
No. You were next to your car. Across the lot.
You hit your head. I think you're confused.
I know what I saw. You stopped the van. You pushed it away with your hand.
Well, nobody's gonna believe you.
I'm sure most of you know this if you've watched any commentary on this, but that scene is like the perfect depiction of gaslighting. And here's what's so annoying about this film is like when you're watching it, obviously you can justify everything because it's such a bizarre circumstance. In literally every single relationship, we can almost always find a good justification for why someone does the toxic things that they do. But she's not taking it from an angle of like, why is this guy lying to me? Maybe I should take a step back. Instead, she's taking the approach of this guy is gaslighting me. This guy one moment will treat me like he doesn't care, one moment treat me like he does. I'm gonna move towards this. I'm gonna solve this puzzle. I'm gonna figure it out. It's very much about like trying to ensure that she can create a relationship with this person when this is clearly not a person who is a safe person to be in a relationship with.
So, what do you think?
About what?
Do you want to go? The prom?
Oh, I have something that weekend. I'm going to Jacksonville.
2 very boring minutes later.
What's in Jacksonville?
How did you know about that?
You didn't answer my question.
Oh, you don't answer any of mine, so Jacksonville.
You at least watch where you walk.
What a dick.
Bella, we shouldn't be friends.
You really should have figured that out a little earlier.
Obviously in this whole scene, he's just a walking red flag. I mean, what else do you want me to say? Like,
You know, your mood swings are kind of giving me whiplash.
I only said it'd be better if we weren't friends, not that I didn't want to be.
I really believe that in this movie, it kind of just shares with you the recipe for obsessively crushing over someone. It's kind of teaching you like, oh, it's going to work out ultimately if it's the right person, instead of saying, hey, if this is the pattern you're in, maybe start focusing on other areas of your life. But this story doesn't express Bella having any passions or any interests. The only interest that she has in this story is Edward, and she'll hang out with her friends because she's not getting that attention from Edward. But as soon as she starts developing a relationship with him, everybody else in her life completely shuts off. And I've experienced this in relationships before, where I get so obsessed with someone and so into someone, and the only real passion that I pursue are like my friendships, and the only reason I'm pursuing them is because I'm not getting what I need from this other person. But as soon as I start getting consistent attention from that person who is being very inconsistent in the start, you start to isolate yourself from absolutely everything in your life because you're willing to, because your only focus and your only passion is this other person. It just makes me so sad that this is what I thought love was as a kid.
You gotta give me some answers.
Yes, no. To get to the other side.
All right.
What? No. Don't leave.
Okay, these answers he's giving her, it's kind of mocking. I mean, there's been times where I've been interested in someone or had a thing with someone, and I've asked them like serious questions and they turn it into a joke. Don't act like you're going to open up to someone or you're going to spend time with them if all you're going to do is continue to deflect every single time somebody asks you a serious question, especially if you're trying to ask them questions to get to know them and you're expecting an answer.
You're impossibly fast and strong. Your skin is pale white and ice cold. I know what you are.
Say it out loud. Say it.
Vampire.
That whole scene The entire scene, you can clearly see how scared she is. Her breath is shaky, she's breathing really heavily, and yet when he asks,
Are you afraid?
she says,
No.
no. In these relationships where we experience these high highs and these low lows, we confuse this feeling of excitement and fear and butterflies and all of this stuff for love that really are an indication of, hey, this person may not be the safest person. This person isn't necessarily a secure person to be with, but you can see her fear in this situation. And yet she doesn't believe herself to be, because she's confusing all of these strong feelings of infatuation for love. And I'm not saying that's exactly what's supposed to be happening in this movie, but as I already said, it's about the message that it sends to the viewer. Because when we watch something that really connects with us, we start to apply it to our life. We start to see our life through the eyes of whatever media we're watching. And when we do that, especially if the film is not giving us a message that is necessarily like the best for us to be living our life through, we can start to find ourselves attracted to really unhealthy situations and patterns.
I'm the world's most dangerous predator. Everything about me invites you in. As if you could outrun me! As if you could fight me off. I'm designed to kill.
I don't care.
I've killed people before.
It does not matter.
I wanted to kill you.
I trust you.
Why? If someone tells you in any way, shape, or form that they are a walking red flag, fucking believe them. Let's even take this in the literal sense. He's a vampire, he knows he's a vampire, but he also knows that he's not even eating people anymore. He's a good vampire. He eats deers and rabbits instead of people. But right now, he's showing her all the reasons not to be with him, and yet she's still saying yes. And all that's telling him is, okay, I can be an absolute piece of shit and still not lose this person. When someone tells you how dangerous they are, and you are still pursuing them, and still going after them, literally all you are saying is, I have no self-respect. I do not care about my own well-being because I am putting you and my connection with you above all else.
I can't read your mind. You have to tell me what you're thinking.
Now I'm afraid.
The first time to where she admits to being afraid is when he asks her to share her thoughts. Your true thoughts and your true feelings feel dangerous to you.
I'm only afraid of losing you. I feel like you're gonna disappear.
Because that's what feels like threatens the relationship. Because these kinds of relationships cannot work in a situation where we're being honest and transparent with each other. Because as soon as both parties are really opening their hearts and revealing what's really going on, like within them, that's when two people can really come together. People in highly codependent relationships who stay in these relationships for a long time are not really ready to be in a healthy relationship. Because if they were, they wouldn't be accepting this kind of behavior. Someone who's really ready to be in a relationship is also ready to open up, is ready to share their heart, is ready to express their dark, scary feelings and emotions with another person. Beyond all the red flags he's telling her, beyond everything else, that's not even what scares her, because what she feels like is really going to threaten the relationship is her. And granted, she's probably right, because that's probably the number one thing that would actually, threaten this relationship more than anything, because she's not letting the actual danger be the thing that gets in the way.
About 3 things I was absolutely positive. First, Edward was a vampire. Second, there was a part of him, and I didn't know how dominant that part might be, that thirsted for my blood. And third, I was unconditionally and irrevocably in love with him.
Oh my god!
You better hold on tight, Spider Monkey.
You better hold on tight, Spider Monkey.
Ow, fuck. This isn't real. This kind of stuff just doesn't exist.
Does in my world.
I will say, however, these scenes of them up in the trees are absolutely beautiful. I genuinely think that's like the first scene where I don't really have anything negative to say. This scene gets a pass.
How did you get in here?
The window?
Do you do that a lot?
Just the past couple of months.
Showing up uninvited, little weird. I mean, granted, obviously he knows she's gonna be okay with it because of the fact that he already knows how weak her boundaries are.
Just stay very still. Don't move.
It took them 25 fucking seconds to kiss.
Stop! I can't ever lose control with you.
Hey, don't go.
And with that all said, I do think it is kind of sweet how they end this scene. He was invited there by that point, and I do think it's kind of cool that he decides, you know what, I'm going to stay and I'm going to listen to her best interests. Problem with all of this is the fact that it's so inconsistent, and the fact that there's one part of him that very strongly feels like, I need to go away, I'm not safe, I'm going to hurt her, or like whatever. And then there's another part of him that's like, I want to be around her, I want to protect her, I want to like get to know her, I want to spend time with her. And instead of him really looking at both of these perspectives and feeling into it and kind of deciding like, what do I genuinely want to do? What do I feel like is in the best interest of me and this person who I'm forming this bond with? Instead, what he's doing is he's just oscillating back and forth based off of his emotions. Instead of really listening to like, what do I value? What does my gut say? What do I truly want to do here? What do I feel like is going to build a solid foundation of a good relationship, whether that means no relationship because I'm not ready, or I'm going to put my fears to the side and really commit myself to this and then just communicate my boundaries. The fact that he's not really being direct with that is really problematic because it sets up a foundation for a really insecure relationship.
I have a date with Edward Cullen. He wanted to meet you. Officially.
All right. Bring him in.
Bella won't be out too late tonight. She's just gonna play baseball with my family.
Bella's gonna play baseball. Good luck with that.
I'll take good care of her, I promise.
I will say, it is really cool that he makes an effort with Charlie and wants to show him that he can trust him and that he's going to take care of Bella. I mean, granted, he shouldn't really trust him.
It's time.
Stop! They hurt us.
Let's go.
It's too late. Could you use 3 more players?
A few of us were leaving. You could take their place. You brought a snack.
I'm sorry, can we just talk about Edward's face right there? Like...
I can see the game is over.
Edward, I said leave me alone.
Bella, don't do this, please.
It's over. Get out.
Hey, Bella. What's going on?
I'm leaving now. Well, what am I gonna say to him? I can't hurt him.
Bella, what's going on?
You just have to.
Look, Bella, I know I'm not that much fun to be around, but I can change that. We can do more stuff together.
Like what? Like watch baseball on the flat screen? Eat at the diner every night? Steak and cobbler? Dad, that's you. That's not me.
Bella, come on. I just got your back.
Yeah, and you know, if I don't get out now, then I'm just gonna be stuck here like Mom.
I understand here that Edward didn't deliberately turn Bella against her family, but in these really unhealthy codependent relationships, we so often end up cutting ourselves off from our family. Oftentimes we almost become a part of their family if their family is also a part of this like unhealthy dynamic, and we end up pushing the people who love us and care about us the most like far away. In that situation, the only thing that those people can do is kind of just let it happen, because sometimes the more they fight for you, the more you kind of convince yourself that they are acting against your best interest because they're trying to pull you away from the person who we become so deeply infatuated with. Like, I've been in a relationship where I legitimately started to believe that like my family didn't really care about me or didn't really understand me. It was never really going to act in my best interests, and it's like... it's hard watching that happen again. And again, the series paints this picture where it's like realistic as to why you would have to push these people away. But it's also hard because when we get into these kinds of situations and we start to justify certain ideas and certain behaviors, we push away our loved ones thinking it's justified or thinking that it's in our best interests or even in their best interests when it's legitimately not the case.
Mom, are you there?
Foxx High School doesn't protect its students' privacy very well. It's a nice house you have here. I was prepared to wait for you, but
then Mom came home after she received a very worried call from your dad.
Wait. Don't touch her. Don't just...
You can still save her, but you're gonna have to get away from your friends.
Where should I meet you?
How about your old ballet studio? And I'll know if you bring anyone along. Poor Mommy would pay the price for that mistake.
Yeah, everyone makes fun of me. Come on, you're a wonderful dancer. You do.
She's not even here.
You have to make a choice. You're gonna let the change happen.
It's gonna happen, Edward. I've seen it.
It doesn't have to be that way. What's my other option? Carlisle! You can try to suck the venom out. Choose. She only has minutes left. Don't make it go away.
I think I may be making a bit of a stretch when I say this, but there is kind of a potential symbolism in this in terms of like Bella has the opportunity to become very strong. Bella has the opportunity to like truly be on par with his family, and yet she's still kept as like a weaker human being, which granted like Edward believes provides her some level of humanity, but also they haven't really given her any ability to consult in this decision. Instead, she's just kind of screaming in pain, and they decide, you know what, let's make sure she doesn't turn into an immortal being.
What happened? Where's James?
We took care of it. Bella, you gotta go to Jacksonville, so I can't hurt you anymore.
Are you... No! How... I don't even know what you're saying. How... What are you talking about? You want me to go away? I can't... No, I can't. I can't just leave you.
I know.
You can't leave me.
I'm here.
Okay, just don't... You just can't say stuff like that to me. Ever.
There are so many times in these kinds of relationships where I have personally experienced something like this, where someone says like, you can't be together anymore, or you need to go away from me, or I'm gonna leave or something, and then you freak out. And as soon as you freak out and you say, no, like, don't do that, what are you talking about, then they say, okay, I'm here, I'm sorry, I won't ever do that. I don't know exactly consciously what someone's thinking of when they do this, because at least as far as I'm self-aware, I have never personally done this. It's kind of a gauge of how much you care, even though it's not always a reflection of it, because it's also a reflection of like, how desperate is that person? It just feels like an attempt to get someone to worry just so you could see how much they really feel like they need you. This is not at all the foundation of him trying to create a safe relationship for her. It's about him always having access to her.
You're perfect. I'll take care of it, Chief Swan.
Uh-huh. I've heard that before.
Bella.
Jacob.
My dad paid me to come talk to you.
Let's hear it.
He wants you to break up with your boyfriend. He said, quote, we'll be watching you.
Okay, well, tell him thanks.
Okay. Oh, let me help you.
Jacob. Take her from here.
Guess I'll see you around, Bella.
So there's an earlier scene with Mike where he says he doesn't like Edward and Bella together. And now there's a scene with Jacob where he's saying, my family is warning you against being with your boyfriend, essentially. And when there's multiple people in your life expressing concern over your relationship, it's worth noting.
You wanna go? Shall we?
You're serious.
Oh, why not?
I do think it's really sweet the way that he takes her outside and invites her to dance. She's hesitant about it and he like picks her up and places her on his feet so he can kind of dance for her. She's not confident in something. She doesn't feel like she's capable of something, and then he finds a way to guide her through the process and make her feel comfortable with it even though it's out of her comfort zone. That is something that I think is really beautiful.
Edward, why did you save me? You just let the venom spread. I could be like you right now.
You don't know what you're saying. I'm not gonna end your life, Faith.
I'm dying. Already. Every second I get closer.
That's what you dream about. Becoming a monster.
I dream about being with you forever.
Forever. And you're ready right now.
Yes.
Is it not enough just to have a long and happy life with me?
For now.
Why can't he just respect her decision? You don't know what you're asking for. This isn't what you want. Am I not enough with the situation as it is? Why do my fingers look so long? This looks like an alien hand. Girl, it's too late. It's just highly unfortunate that so many of these stories showcase these really unhealthy relationships. And from one end, I get it. It makes for an interesting story. One where the audience is always questioning and always thinking, like, what's gonna happen? What comes next? Da, 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 da. But the main problem with that is that we start to think that that's what love and relationships are supposed to look like in real life. We think that true romance is like this big crazy thing where we're questioning, we're figuring it out, and then suddenly there's this big payoff and reward, and then that's where like the true love and security comes in. But that's not the case. A relationship is safe and honest and transparent and open from the get-go. Like, that's what's promising. I'm not saying that unhealthy people can't grow and unhealthy people can't change, because I've been an unhealthy person and I have grown a lot as a person, but that didn't happen by someone falling in love with me and changing me. It happened because I made the conscious decision to change, and I'm still getting there. Like, I'm still learning. I am still like completely and utterly like imperfect. But romanticizing these really, really unhealthy relationships does no good to anybody, because if you think about like a life that feels easy, it's gonna come through someone who shows you that they like you. It's gonna come through someone who wants to express that they care, someone who wants to get to know you, somebody who asks about your boundaries and asks about what you're comfortable with and asks about what you want and is willing to have conversations with you. Not someone who thinks they know better than you. Not someone who wants to choose for you. Not someone who wants unconditional access to you. This film honestly is really like a roadmap of like what not to do in a relationship. But if we really want to be aware of what kind of thoughts we are putting into our mind and what kind of beliefs we're investing in, we do have to pay attention to what messages we're kind of, you know, spending our time paying attention to. What lessons am I as the viewer supposed to be learning based off of this piece of content? And is this something I really want to invest my energy into? Or is this something that is simply junk food entertainment? And it's good to have junk food every now and then. I finished my little bag of spicy cheese balls. I ate the vast majority of the marshmallows. I finished a whole fucking little thing of pudding. It's not bad to invest in junk food every now and then, but believe me when I tell you, my stomach is definitely not the happiest with me right now. So yeah, be mindful of your mind, be mindful of your body, and listen to your heart. Listen to your heart. Anyways, without much further ado, thank you for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do all the things, click all the buttons, and I will see you guys next time. Ciao.